So loud.
All
Fantastic.
right.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
everyone. It is May 2nd, and you are joining MVP Office Hours. It's awesome to see all of you today. I am Square Kirshner, one of your co-hosts, along with my partner in not crime, whatever it would be, Joy Cutter Telbing. Um, we have our standard walkthrough, so we're on the first and third Fridays of every month. You can find us on LinkedIn and our normal go-tos. The Twitter link is there. Probably don't use that. We've got an email. Don't use that either. Use the Success Community. It's the best way to reach out to everyone that's involved with this call, including the 20 odd people that are on today. So hey, it's awesome to see all of you. Upcoming events. It's a busy May and June. We've got Mid-Atlantic, Marjorie in Tahoe, Texas, Montreal, Connections in Chicago for Salesforce, Dreaming in Color, and Southeast Dreamin', to name a few. And that's just through June. Is there anything May, June otherwise that we missed?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if we did, you can always get the list at salesforce.com/events. That's your best friend as far as that goes, and the community conferences link as well. Please bookmark that and make it part of your normal viewing pleasure. So, with that, come on. There it is. As I mentioned, the success community is your friend. There's a QR there if you're not familiar with how to quickly get there. Post your questions, comments there. But for today, we invite everyone to share everything they know and learned and want to learn, and any ideas, whatever, in this call. You can post links, you can post resources, you can answer. This isn't just for Joy and I to answer. We're a community, so come off mute, share your knowledge. If you have a question, post it in the chat and we'll get to it in the order they're received, or raise your hand and we'll do the same. And we want to have fun, but keep it professional and positive, because remember, we're recording this. And because of that, please don't share anything, if you do choose to share, that's private or proprietary. And we can't allow transcribed or recorded AI tooling for this call for a variety of reasons. So if any of those things are a problem for you, we're sad to see you go, but we're going to recommend that you drop off, or at least go on mute and off camera. And we just want to make this a good experience for everyone. And with that, as I mentioned, we have lots from the community. So because we have so many, I think it's probably best if we do it by attendance. So I'm not sure if I saw Rebecca join.
Rebecca, if you're here, unmute. I don't see her, but that doesn't mean it's not true. No, Rebecca. Pat is here. Kathleen. I don't see Kathleen. Katie's here, and I believe and Clayton's here.
Yeah.
So,
So why don't we jump to Pat's question about health and optimizer? I think this is a good topic. We'll try to keep it contained, because I'm sure there's a lot of opinions. Pat, do you want to speak a little bit more to the ask rather than reiterate what you typed?
Okay, well, I just started a new job last week.
yay! Congratulations! Woo,
Congratulations!
woo,
Thanks,
woo!
thanks. Everybody has helped. Everybody has helped. Anyway, they've been using, a contract or their partner as a Salesforce. God dang it. No, as their Salesforce admin, blah blah blah. And as I got in, as getting to org, like that, they had a number of Salesforce administrators listed. Anyway, I'm just looking at the things for a new org as you're taking over the new org, and this is the first time I've been the only Salesforce admin. Basically, I've always had a team around me or people that were managers that were above me. But what things other than the optimizer and the health check and things to do and to look at when you're taking over a new org?
So, in the spirit of complete transparency, Pat and I already talked about this a little bit. Um, and I showed the presentation I gave in Florida Dreamin', um, about, how to break the ice and get to know an org. And it's an article in Transit, but there are a number of things, Pat, that we talked about, right?
Yes.
You know, finding out all the bodies. These comments are terrible. You all are funny. So the comments are, you know, something about a body sniffing dog, and you know, MVP Office Hours is a great resource. Thanks, Andrea. Aw. Aw. And all there's a lot, right? And so I think the beginning of this, and without pulling up my presentation that I don't have memorized because that was a couple months ago, is get to know your org, document where you're starting, and make sure you have a way to collect the things that you're going to be doing so that you can prioritize quickly. My first step is, as soon as you are able, get a copy, get a sandbox, like any layer sandbox that you can get your hands on, and just tuck it away, because that is how it was when you got there. Just tuck it away and hang on to it. And then when you're picking up all the things, you know, like understand who the users are, understand who the power users are, understand who the squeaky wheels are, understand who's making the decisions versus who's complaining. And there's just so much. There's so much. Like all the automations, I think, I'm kind of going off the rails. Someone interrupt me. Anyone.
Well, let me tell you one thing. I have established some things.
Good.
One, I've established that we're going to do make a business decision, as in we're going to find out, do user stories, gather requirements,
Yes. Yes.
and what's going to be the return, and what are the I'm looking for my words here. How do we know when it's done? That's not the real word I wanted to use, but
What's done? Yes.
yeah,
A
yeah.
definition
What's
of done. Mhm.
what? Yes. And so I've established that we're going to do that, because there really kind of like isn't a lot of documentation as to why things were done. Okay. And the second thing is also, they've also decided they want to buy Salesforce maps, and I'm kind of pushing that back just a little bit, because how do I install it? What is necessary? And who's going to teach them how to use it? Because they only want to buy it for 4 people, but they still don't really know how to use Salesforce anyway. No training has been done. So that's
Mhm.
a Salesforce 101 training is like probably like 2 months down the road.
Well, I mean, I think you've already got a good plan in your head right now, Pat. I think you need to start putting together a roadmap of all the things that have to happen before you can get to the things that need to happen. Um, if you don't define those things now and early, that timeline and that roadmap isn't going to be like top of mind when you start talking about this stuff. And at the bare minimum, I think it helps you then say to your last point, like, we're not good adopters and users of the platform, but you want to add maps. Like, are you concerned about that leadership? You know, you can start to have that conversation. If they're willing to be like, we'll wing it, cool. At least you've brought it up. You've done your job. You don't have to like it, but you've got there. Um, so I think, I mean, this is a great opportunity to kind of to, I was going to say schedule. I don't know where that came from. I don't talk like that. Schedule something out as far as like, these are my milestones. These are the most important parts to get there. And part of that can be then you're saying, I have to do a health check to be able to do my job. Where does that fit in all this? There's only one of me, right? I think that'll help you a lot. As far as the tools, before I forget, I believe Optimizer is now defunct, right? You can't run it.
Linda
The
knows about this.
the last report I said was March 2026. So part of it is back, supposedly,
It
but
is.
not all of it.
It
But
is.
having said
I
that, I'm
clicked
sorry, go
on
ahead.
it. So I did click on it, and it did run it, and so I haven't started doing any of that yet, because also I've committed to doing what I call a listening tour of talking with everybody that uses Salesforce. And so I've committed, I think I don't have that many people to do it with, maybe 30, 35, 28.
And
But
Pat, you might just want to get snapshots of what Optimizer has for results, so you'll have them to refer to for a little while,
good idea.
just in case it goes down again before
Yeah.
they finally take it all away from us.
Okay.
Yep. There's a lot of tools now, especially in the last year and a half, that are built in. You just have to either activate them or go find them in the setup too. So there's some things there that can help you.
Right. And that's the list we're trying to like drill down to, because
Yeah.
a lot of times, it's like set it and forget it. And then you're like, I forgot what that is and I don't know how to find it now that I'm in a new org. But one of the other, I stand by my sandbox, like so that you can like poke around and do all the things and you can figure out like, oh, do they have field tracking on? Do they have, are they exposing field history? Because I'll tell you, once upon a time, field tracking was on in a new org I went to. And when I exposed it, let me just tell you, the fan got dirty because things hit the fan. There was some shenanigans going on and it got exposed and whoo boy, find some stuff out.
I also want to add, Pat, I think especially coming in blind, and if you don't have like a knowledge transfer happening from the previous admins, that roadmap is also going to help you then determine from your perspective where to focus. It's too much to just say, I'm going to do a health check. So if you get that roadmap built, you can start to say like, well, I'm going to spend a month talking about data quality or automation assessment or security profiles, but you can't do it all. There's just no way. So if you start to line those things up too, it also then helps resonate with your leadership to say, these are all things you have to do. Now I understand why we needed you so badly and why we're going to overpay you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
This goes back, and the thing is, Pat, you're going to trip over a lot of tech debt on your way to figuring out what they need, but keep track of what you're doing. This is, I think everyone on this call would agree with this, like keep track of the work you're doing. So every time you talk to someone, like block it out as a user story, whatever. Every time you identify an automation that's like quirky, like document, because in 100 days or whatever, they're gonna be like, well, what have you been doing? And you're like, oh, I don't know, I've just been doing everything, I've been trying to figure out everything. And that's not the right answer.
Right.
The right answer is like, well, I interviewed 30 people, we talked about 70 different processes, and we had 128 complaints, and we're trying to like narrow down what can be, what are duplicates, what are like low hanging fruit, what are things that we can improve right away versus installing Salesforce maps before they clean up the technical debt. Linda, hi. And before tackling the debt, because the technical debt you're just going to keep tripping over.
Yeah.
So
Michael, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I can't emphasize enough. I think it's great that you have a plan for a walking around tour. You ask like the dumbest questions, like literally like, okay, I don't know what your, new job is, but like you're the sales department. I'm going to ask like really dumb questions like, what do you think we sell? Where do you put that? Is it on opportunities? Do you have some custom object I haven't stumbled across yet?
you can't give
Show
them
me
leading
what you
questions,
do.
Michael.
Yeah.
Are they on opportunities? That's a leading question, sir.
You're right. Right. Like show me when you log in how you make a new deal. Don't make any assumptions. And I mean, I also just make assumptions, but then I'm super clear. Like my assumption is you do this and this and this and this.
Yes.
In which places was I completely wrong?
Got it. Yeah.
Pat, if you're solo admin and you're the trainer, then just the balance of time, because when I was at New Penn, I was both, and I would have to spend 70% of my time doing sales training, and I only got 30% as the admin. So that yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm pushing back on the maps, because I'm thinking they held off until I got there. But so before I got there, who was going to train and blah, 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 and install it and make sure it's right? Because I just know that that person couldn't do it. That's kind of like been their contract person. Okay. So.
All right, Pat.
Thanks.
You got something to get started on? I mean, keep coming back to us. We'll give you more. We just want to get to this agenda as best we can. So we'll
Sure
help
enough.
wherever you need help.
Appreciate you. Yep.
Cool. All right. Everyone, clearly everyone has been in your role and has a lot of opinions, so we're all ready to help.
Thank you.
I
You
would,
bet.
I would say that not everyone is envious of your first 3 months, though.
Oh, that's a long trip ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They have work-life balanced. I was
Good.
there on Friday past 5 p.m. and somebody was kicking me out.
That's
So
good.
All right.
That's good. That's good.
Nothing
I
wrong with
like
that.
it. I
good
like it.
place.
The next one up was Kathleen, but I didn't see that she joined. Did she?
I
Not
don't
yet.
see Kathleen in the chat unless
Sometimes she's the
Kathleen
late
is
joiner, though, I think, right?
a secondary person. So when we see Kathleen, someone like throw something at us.
I was gonna say, hey Pat, you know how to reach me. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hit me up. I'm your friend.
Next up is
Fantastic.
Katie's question about being able to merge in Classic. Let's keep the Classic diatribe to a minimum because we gave her that trouble already, and we'll focus on helping her out.
Wasn't my decision.
That's all right.
true.
That's all right. Moving forward.
So, Katie, give us a rundown again on the challenge you're having.
Yeah, so we are merging in Classic, and I gave we have data stewards who are temps positions. So we want to do of course, the best practices, minimal amount of privileges as possible. So we gave them read or edit, read, and delete permissions on accounts because we're just focusing on merging accounts. Per the help article, merging in Classic, you give those permissions on the account level, as well as the related objects. They need to have edit permissions. On top of that, they need to be either an admin, Squire, as you pointed out, an admin, an owner of the record, or higher than the owner's role in the hierarchy. So to meet that, we created the highest level in the hierarchy that's even above the admins, because some admins own some records. So we gave them that, we gave them their permissions, and I forgot what the third thing was, but I'm pretty sure we did it.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, and just to be clear, I just cut and pasted right from the documentation, so it wasn't. It's common information. So
Yeah. So now the trouble is if they can't merge when they don't own the records. However, when they move the records into their names, they can merge. So that makes me think I'm running up against a sharing rule, but I don't understand what I'm coming up against.
I think it's not a sharing rule. I think it's a like account merge functionality rule.
because it's a combination of the ability to see all those records, change the ownership of the records, delete those records, because that's part of the merge process, whether you want it to or not. And all the related records have to have these, like, it's this weird, like, merge is an awful tool.
It's an amazing tool.
Wow,
There's just
okay,
a
good.
lot going on with it. There's a lot
But
going
it-
on.
Can I give them edit and delete permissions on those
Yes.
other objects?
Because it's going to delete the one you merge away from.
On
So
the account, but the
on the
related-
account, the sub objects, though, you have to make sure they have update on the fields so that like if the account field, especially if it's a custom field, they have to have edit rights on that field.
I did do that. I looked through the fields that they're merging and I gave them edit permissions because I saw that on a community post somewhere.
Yeah,
So
they should probably
that's just
have,
for accounts, but I didn't do that on the related stuff.
but they need to be able to edit all
They
of
have
the
to be able to
related objects.
Right, so all
Because
the
they're
related
looking
objects,
up to an account.
right, edit and any field on that object that is the lookup to an account record. So it might not be the one that you normally think of. It might be like a secondary lookup field you've added that has been added to that object that looks up to the account object.
Okay.
So, and it's all objects that touch account, not just the ones you feel like doing. Because
I know.
no, I'm saying that because like there's a lot of objects, and if there's like one like screwy little object that like you didn't think anyone was using, but it's like got a record and you're trying to merge it and it needs to be reassigned and they don't have access, it's just gonna like crash.
Yeah.
And especially your task event objects.
Yes.
Any objects that have the funky, I can join to lots of different things.
Right. And view on all accounts won't necessarily do that, Nick. You have to have edit. Edit. And so you had said something, I think, about modify all not being something you wanted to give these intern data steward folks. And I totally agree with that. That's why a data steward as an intern / temp is really kind of a piece of a horror story in my mind. I'm not sure I'm the only one on the call who feels that way.
No, I
It's
literally wrote that. I was like, stewards as a temp position? How can you
it's really
steward
hard.
anything on a temporary basis?
It's really hard, but it's a decision the business made, and so you have to just empower them as best you can. I really hope everything's backed up.
Can I ask why you're doing it in Classic? I'm curious.
Delete, mute. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm curious. Like, why aren't you doing it in Lightning? You can merge accounts in Lightning. It makes no difference to the permission stuff.
There,
They're picking and choosing which accounts
yeah,
you want to merge, whereas, oh, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
no, so I ran into this issue and I actually had to build, I even posted this in the community, I think, a back door to the Classic account merge, because there's just sometimes where it's easier in the Classic to find the accounts you want to merge. In Lightning, it's almost like Salesforce has to find the duplicates and say, hey, it looks like there's a duplicate record to this account.
No,
there's not a...
You can put a merge accounts button in Lightning that does the Classic merge accounts inside of Lightning.
Oh.
So they don't have to switch out of Lightning to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
What?
I'll show you. Sharing screen.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I mean,
it's-
I've
But
always,
it essentially does the same thing though, right, Michael?
Yes, it's this button. We're clearly in Lightning. And when you click it, you get Classic, but you didn't have to switch out of Lightning.
oh.
I will find the instructions for how you create that button and post
Love
them
it.
in the
Yeah,
chat so
mine
you can
mine
see
was
it.
like a custom web tab
Yeah.
that reverts to the but it, you know, because I'm not smart enough to code a button.
No,
show off.
Oh, now come on, friends.
It's
Y'all are
this.
funny.
It's as simple as a list view button with this URL, which I didn't make it
That's
up. I Googled.
mine is a web tab with that
Yeah.
URL.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
That's
could
the
put-
URL.
If
Yep.
you can post that on my in MVP office hours on my
If you post the URL in the chat, Squire will jump it into the presentation and into the.
And actually put your org ID in there, and Squire will be your data steward. He'll
There
just
you go. I'll
start-
take care of it. You can count on me.
Put back everything up the sandbox for us.
There's so many things wrong with what I said with what's going on, but
I think if you get any error messages though, that's going to give you a lot of information too. But I think it's probably just crashing. It's just like
it's
no,
generic insufficient privileges.
just no,
Yeah.
just no.
Katie, can I just verify if the person changes ownership though, it all works great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's your fastest way to get there, depending on how many you've got them doing, is to have
What
change ownership
about-
versus try to pick apart the permissions, especially for a short term.
Yeah. I
What
agree.
about where it seems to be data access instead of like permissions? The sticking point here, because like, you know, Squire said, like you change ownership and everything just goes, like everything works fine. Like a public, put them in a public group and create like an Uber sharing rule. I don't know, but I don't know, like, so like yeah, like whatever the exact opposite of a strong suit is, security and sharing, and that is like my
I wonder
anti-strong suit of Salesforce knowledge.
I
Of
wonder
the
if,
many
if
things I have no knowledge of.
I wonder if one or more of those objects, the sharing rule does not grant by hierarchies, that it's private and it's not granted by hierarchies. Whereas where your count, like, because from what you described, you set up, you put them at the top of the hierarchy, but all it takes is one object that's related to account.
Well,
Custom object that has a master detail relationship, and this record cannot be reparented, maybe?
This is also another
That's the other
reason.
thing.
What was weird is that like I moved the hierarchy. I was like, oh, that's the thing. I just got to put them up in the hierarchy. And they merged. They merged two admin owned roles or own accounts.
Accounts.
Then the next account that they went to didn't
But-
work.
Right, but
Right.
every
It's still on the
account
record.
has different stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Just like, you know,
Remember-
we all have different stuff on our shelves behind us, right? Every account has different stuff. And so you need to go through and check your sharing stuff. And because you probably didn't build all the custom objects, to Mike's point, or Steve's point, about how that goes up the chain. And then Linda, oh my goodness, you have a lot going on, Katie. How many custom objects you got there? Don't answer that. All right.
So like I would start by just looking at the sharing and seeing for each object, is it shared with hierarchy? And then you're going to have to look at those, unfortunately, the master detail or the lookup fields and see how if they're one, you know, especially on master detail, are they allowed to reparent?
It's
Yeah.
a lot of time for like what Squire said, is it's just temporary roles. But they're already commenting about how many clicks it is to change and then merge.
That's why you're using temps. They're
Yeah.
not supposed to complain about how many clicks.
Some of them are full-time employees.
They're just working on the project, and so that's
Yeah.
a thing. That's a thing. The you know, just tell them that we're doing the best we can and do it as quickly as possible. And you know, if they would prefer to do it another way, they can. You know, I've got words.
But
Holy
if we
cow!
could keep them in Lightning, I'll say that's a win.
There you go.
Go.
You
There
can
you go.
definitely keep them in Lightning. And I put in the chat, and I don't know, Squire, Joy, check me on this. Could you, obviously, people would need to log into a special different login if they have other jobs they do, but could you make like a really locked down profile where like all it's used for is merging accounts? They have no edit screen, like page layouts and stuff, but then you give them modify all data so they can do the thing they need to do with one click. They do the merging and then they log out of that and log in, you know, as real themselves to do real work.
I mean, they could have a. You know, I think that's actually one way to do it for the temps, right? The full-time employees that already have Salesforce access, you might set them up with a temporary permission set group to do what you need to do also, instead of just opening up those users.
I'm gonna offer only the paranoia that is screaming ahead that probably would work, except the words "give the temp employee modify all" gives me so much anxiety that I almost wish I could back up and mute you before you said it.
I hate it. It hurts
They
me.
functionally need
Not
that
gonna
to
do the
merge
mergers.
accounts.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
mean, the problem is giving temp employees merging accounts as their job.
Yeah, there you go, Katie. You should tell your bosses that we're not going to do that. That's just not going to work out.
Oh yeah. Oof.
That was one of my first responsibilities in my first Salesforce job. So cleaning up contacts, merging them, and I don't think I merged any accounts though. Hey, I was
Yeah.
one that thought closed one was closed one.
Nice. Nice. I'll
And
buy
look at
that.
you now, solo admin. Look at that growth. I love it. I love it. Katie, do you have something to go on then for the next like couple business days to see if you can like unravel some of this, or
Yeah, I might
Okay.
poke around, but I just really think I'm leaning towards their temps. It's too much work. We're just going to give them this workaround. We'll keep it in Lightning so there's less clicks. They don't have to. Yeah. It's the best we can do because
yeah, it is what it is.
Well,
And I
I make
hate
sure
that.
the message is not the best we can do. It's the quickest turnaround. The best we can do is a long discovery story to try to figure out the best way to implement, or we can do this right now.
got it. I
Because it's
like
not the
that.
best you can do. We
Yeah,
all
and
know
it-
it's not
and
the best you
instead of
can
like
do.
picking and
That's true.
choosing, like the other
With
thing
enough
would
time
be,
and money, you can do anything.
That's
Right.
right. That is right.
you know, also, you know, a data specialist taking a run at like the file as opposed to picking and choosing one by one.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I miss you all. I wish I could more.
Hey, we're here. First and third Fridays, we're here. So,
Yeah.
all right, what's the next up, Squire?
Clayton has a question about adding a latitude and longitude to a call via an Android.
What?
Yeah,
Clayton, are you here?
he is.
Yes.
Let's hear what you got.
Okay, so our sales management team wants to be able to see when a sales rep completes a call, they want to know physically where the sales rep was when they did it. So they can see, they want the longitude and latitude to verify where the sales rep was. And they seem to think we can get it from Google Maps or Google or the Android. And
If-
basically, we want to update the longitude and latitude on the call record with information coming out of the Android. Spoke to the account rep, and we thought maybe Salesforce Maps might do it, but my understanding is he just said that it no longer supports that, and you would have to go to Service Cloud. You know, kind of like a service person that completes a job. Apparently, Service Cloud supports that. But anyway, so that's kind of what I'm trying to get to.
Wow, that is.
They're on mobile phones.
Yeah, Androids.
All right.
So in theory, you should be able to get from the phone the location, but and I don't know what Maps has to do with that because that's just getting information that's in the device. But if I also recall, they have to grant you security access on that device to say, yes, you can get that. But how you capture it, I don't remember. And I know it was easier if you had the field service app to capture that, but that's a whole nother license, not just Service Cloud, and not cheap.
Mm-mm. I'm so glad that that's not part of my life right now. Linda, do you miss field service?
No, not at all.
I'd go back to what is the outcome or impact of getting to this? Because for me, there's a lot to unravel with that inquiry before I even think about solution. Kind of like, so here's a good example, and that's, I know this is recorded. I was at 3M and we were trying to do a standardized global sales process, and they were like, well, we don't want it to be public internally because our Chinese salespeople likes to hit up the famous plastic surgeons for free surgery. And I was like, Salesforce is not going to stop your weird salespeople from reaching out to plastic surgeons. I'm sorry. So there's things that people request the systems to do things that you don't necessarily have to facilitate when it's really outside the system that needs to address those problems. But yes.
Yeah, the why
story.
behind the request really is the like figuring out, like, is there a problem with them logging?
And is it worth
I
it?
have my suspicions,
Okay.
you know, and the VPSLs kind of posted something where he did a Google query and it said, you know, yeah, you can do this, just write a flow. Just take the longitude and latitude from the Android and put it on the task.
Wait a second. So you came here and we have a link to how to do it? Teasing.
Theoretical link.
Yeah, the theoretical link. The Clayton, that's a new one. Wow. I think you got us all stumped on the hurdle of the why. And then
Yeah, I mean, I'm also.
Are these
I have-
company-owned phones?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can write an LWC that I can take advantage of the location
The location of what though?
of the device the person is using that they're
And
accessing
how do you-
Salesforce
how does the
at the
LW
time.
How does the LWC get
Because-
access to the phone's location unless you're granting it at the phone level?
Right.
Because
the
the
login?
device has a location. So so like I do time of day a lot. Like, like if you want to have it, the person logs in and it says, hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on the time on the device that they've accessed Salesforce from. So it's something that lives within the browser that can be accessed and called up through JavaScript.
Right,
basic-
but that's time date of the browser, not
Right.
not-
Location is
not-
one of those fields.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Zip code's on there.
More than zip code.
Yeah, that was the one I remembered, Linda. Come on. But it's there.
Yeah,
I
there's
know,
a
I mean, just for like,
geolocation API.
just like our logins on the PCs or the Macs or whatever on your laptop, like that gets popped in with your login. And so with your mobile device, I imagine it's just as,
So the idea being that, so maybe I'm overthinking this. So are you saying, Linda, that if someone like closes a case, closes a call, closes a task via the mobile app, your LWC is saying, oh, by the way, get some information about the device that they just clicked the button on, right?
Yeah,
But
so
is that-
this
Sorry, go ahead.
so this Microsoft MDN web document I just pasted in there, there is actually an API you can call within a web page, within the JavaScript of a web page, and you can get the person's current location. It does usually require that they grant permission to that website to access that, but it is accessible.
All right. So and maybe I may have overthought Clayton's original question. So when you say make a call, like not literally a phone call, you're not trying to get
saying make a
automation from
phone-
an outbound call to Salesforce. It's closing an activity of some sort.
Right. Yes.
Okay, got it. All right.
Clayton, did you open up that link that Linda posted in the chat?
Not yet.
Linda, you always amaze me. You're great.
I just searched it because
You just searched it. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I just searched it. Linda's better than Google. I don't know where you're at with this, Clayton. This is a big one.
Nick, you raised your hand. Did you have something to add?
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
You are now.
Yeah. Hey all. On, I love the cat. I've got 4 somewhere. I think they're hiding or plotting my demise. The location field won't automatically write in the mobile app though. That's where, and what I was thinking is all screen flows, it doesn't have to be an LWC. What if you had a screen flow that popped up or just ran automatically whenever a call was put in by the mobile app? So it could write to, you'd have to create a custom geolocation field and then put the location component into that screen flow, just have it pop up and out. Michael, if you say it's automatic with the iPhone, you don't have the granularity in the functions like you do in the Android.
That seems very unlikely to me. You're saying Salesforce automatically gets my location. I can't deny it in Apple's settings. There's no app that does
It's part that when I talked with Ethan Alexander, who used to work with Salesforce and design the mobile app for iPhone, it's part, the geolocation part is part of the iPhone. If you have the location, there's no way to block it on iPhone because the application hasn't been built that way.
How long ago was that conversation?
I'd be surprised if we'd get App Store approval with that.
6 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I would say it's only because with the privacy changes that Apple has, that may not be the case anymore.
I can't see it in my settings, so I can't turn it on and off in my Salesforce app settings on my iPhone.
I'm going to be screwing around with something, so I'll actually create a screen flow this weekend and do a call or send an email or something so that I'll put the location in and I'll let you guys know.
I love it. I love it, Nick.
It is just scrolling through it. Is it something at install? I mean, like, because it's obviously some apps still have the allow, don't allow. At install, does it say I'm going to grant access? Does anybody know that?
I wouldn't remember.
Okay.
But like photos, I can see where I took a photo
Oh,
from.
here we go. Location services. I'm going to dig in real quick. Scroll to S. Salesforce isn't listed. Nope. So I don't know. I can't change
Yeah, I went
the
to
settings
location
for
services. Salesforce is not there.
Salesforce.
No.
Which I don't know, how that all shakes out.
Because
Whew.
Clayton's question is about Android anyway. If we're certain that on Android you have to grant access, Clayton, are these company-owned phones? Because I don't see why salespeople would grant access. Oh, okay, so they have no choice.
Right.
They want to keep their job.
All those things.
So if I'm hearing right, I need to look at the link on the LWC and the MDN API. And if I follow that path, then if I can get them to grant access, then that might help me get there.
In theory, yes. I'm seriously, like the first time I did that whole what time of day it is, I had to play around with it for a while.
And Nick's going to circle back with the success community, see what he comes back with. I love it. Who else do we have, Squire? Clayton, you feel good about this though?
Oh, that's dandy. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, Squire.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh, not a problem. So the next one up was Michael and Steve were talking about preferred analytics tools. I just wanted to know if that was something that we wanted to share with the group. If you don't,
I didn't have anything to really add. Like I've just been native Salesforce reports and dashboards. I mean, I could talk in detail about how to wring every last drop out of a standard report and dashboard because you don't have access to a BI tool. I can talk about like, getting every last drop of blood out of them. But yeah, only thing I've ever done is my only access, or experience with CRMA or Tableau has been the Trailhead badges, and even just the basic 101 ones.
We've recently implemented Tableau, and it's great if you have the skill set to build data models and connect to external data and internal data. But yeah, I mean, I think your point is like underneath what you just said, Steve. Like, I don't know. Like if I ask this room right now to raise your hand if you think you know 100% of the reporting capability of the native platform, how many people would raise their hand? Right? And we're all very smart and experienced people. So like I always want to say push it as far as you can, then call Steve. And then
reports call Evan Ponta. That dude,
even better.
That dude is
he's got his
reports
head
and
around
dashboard.
reports,
He's the best I've ever seen. He does stuff with customer report types that is just jaw dropping.
Fantastic. All right, we do have a question from Annie.
Yeah, and actually a couple of them I think built into one post. So Annie, if you're here, do you want to start out with your questions about PDF, and we'll go from there?
Patient. Thank you. You're muted though.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes.
Hi guys. So I'm not admin certified. I'm hopping on. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but
you're allowed. We love it.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome.
So we have recently been digging into Account Plan, which was part of a more recent release. And our team loves it, but there are some challenges I'm having a hard time overcoming. One being the relationship map does not appear. Has anyone used Account Plan? I have it on the account itself, the account object, but it's not appearing on the widget in the Account Plan.
For you or for all the users?
For all users.
Have they been given the access that they need would be the first place to start. Like, is there a license for that? Does anyone know? In my experience, like looking back at like some other things where they would provide a widget, you had to like give them like the license, or you had to give them the permission set, or you had to give them the permission set group, or you had to assign them access.
I will have to look into that. I
Okay.
saw this question posed in like Salesforce Ben like message board. A lot of people are having this trouble. So I don't know if it's just one of those things that is not fully fleshed out yet, but I will look into permissions.
Mhm.
And then this is another aspect I probably should just know, but is there the ability to add export functionality on any object? Like I'd like to push out these account plans into a nice clean PDF, and I don't see how to do that.
So I just want to make sure I'm going to make you restate your question because are you asking, I want to be able to create a PDF of an account plan, or do I want to export data from any object? I want to
I
make
want
sure.
to create, I don't know. In my mind, there should be like an export functionality that you can apply to any object, but basically my end goal is I want a PDF of the account plan. It looks really nice in the UI, and we want the ability to be able to export it out if possible.
Sure. So some other time when you come back in 2 weeks, we'll debate whether or not you should be able to export any PDF of a web-based tool when you have access to it anywhere,
Yeah.
anytime, at all time. But for now, Joy just put a link in about, I think is that the same link I put in? Yeah, it is.
Right, is it? That's really funny.
That's all right.
But yeah, it's turn on sales account plans, make sure all the steps have been gone through. And if you're not the person doing that, go through this with them and make sure they've stepped through all the steps.
Yeah, I think we toggled all the things and turned on the buyer relationship map and everything like that. So I'm not quite sure, but I'll run through it again.
So one of the things that happens when turning things on in Salesforce is you think you get the steps through and maybe you skip over one or two by accident. The number of times I've had salespeople be like, this thing doesn't work. And then they show me how to do it. And sure enough, they follow all the steps they're supposed to go through when someone's looking over their shoulder. And I'm not suggesting you did or didn't do this. I'm just saying, double check your work.
Yeah.
And then, you're going to go through and you're going to select who can, there's permission sets, right? There's, you have to select, who can and cannot access account plans. And so the steps go through that. And so you're gonna just go through those steps again. And then also the person that sold this to you, there should be an enablement documentation. And if they haven't shared that with you, you should ask for it.
Good call.
Yeah. Put them to work.
Yeah. The other question is more philosophical. Basically, there's a desire to have all of the child accounts opportunities rolled up at the global level. And I'm just wondering, versus having to like hunt and peck in reports or they just want to look at the global account, because it kind of ties with this account plan initiative where it's got a dashboard that looks at all open opportunities and all that. And it doesn't really make sense to have a strategic account plan at a child level in our org. So I'm just more philosophically, are there major pitfalls or issues with doing that? Like I'm thinking inflation of the pipeline if we've got opportunities on two different records, but I think you should be able to relate them or do like a lookup link or something like that.
If it's the artificial inflation would be if they're duplicitous, right? If they're like the same thing, you're just putting one on the parent and one on the child. Don't do that. So philosophically, don't create duplicate opportunities. That is going to artificially inflate the pipeline. And I really think it comes down to who's making the purchasing decisions on the account. Is it at that child account level or is it at the global account level? But that's a decision that you and the company will have to, like you and the business will have to like sort through and pros and cons on it.
Okay.
In my experience, one of the companies I worked with, we sold to the parent accounts, but we also sold to the child accounts. And so we had two different opportunity types. We had like a parent account opportunity and we had a child account opportunity. They weren't called that. They made more sense, I swear. Because we would sell like a broader product to the parent account. And then we would have like maybe like add-ons that we could sell to the child accounts. But they were separate. But they were still under like the master service agreement with the parent account. So balance how you work through that. And then your opportunities then can be, you know, parent account opportunities that are specific sets of products, or you have your child account opportunities, which are different sets of or products. Whoa. You guys are really digging in the cobwebs. Knock it off. That was 10 years ago plus. Like, does that help at all?
Yeah, no, it helps. I'll look at for the account plan. I'll look at that more. We don't have an answer on exporting to PDFs. It sounds like
So
there's not like
the exporting to PDF of the account plan. Go ahead, Linda. Sorry.
I mean, you got options. Print your screen to PDF. No, don't like that. All right.
It doesn't look good at all. I mean, all these, I don't know if you've seen the account plans, but there's all these little boxes and it just doesn't look right. Yeah.
And I don't know that you're
again,
going
Annie, if we're going to talk about it, why are you printing something that's available to anyone, anywhere, at any time?
Well, so I have an answer for that, Squire.
I'm going to print it and I'm going to
line in
send
the
it to the-
sand, like line in the sand. You know, like this is what you presented to the salesperson on this thing for their sales plan for this account, like, or this is where we started and this is how it, you know, migrated.
Or this is what I want to send to the customer for some reason. I don't know why you would do that, but
Yeah, I think it's like we have executive sponsors like the CEO, and he might not be in Salesforce. He might not have his login, but if we sent him a PDF attachment of what the sales user put in, you know, not everyone, even though we want everyone in Salesforce all the time, our CEO might not be, but he might need to be downloaded quickly on this account that he's walking into a meeting with just to get the overview. So, you know,
I am 100% going to recommend that you spend some time training your CEO.
Yeah.
I saw the look on your face. I've been there. I get it. But I will tell you the difference between your CEO understanding how to like get into Salesforce at a moment's notice and using it, like viewing it and using it are two different things.
yeah.
But if you can train them to get in and view it, I learned a CEO how to do it on the mobile. And let me just tell you, this man was so happy.
Yeah.
He was so happy. He didn't log anything, but he knew where the opportunities were. He knew what was going on. He knew who was talking to the clients that he was meeting with. And it changed things for him.
Yeah.
And he's not going to sit through the same trainings as the rest of your team.
And what can you do with reports, to go back to the reports thing, that could get you a report that you could schedule or have a subscription out there so that it can send to them automatically rather than going the PDF route? Because you're never going to recreate that page layout truly in even with a PDF, because there are weird nuances to data and formatting. And because right now I think the only way to really get things in PDF is still through a Visualforce page. Supposedly you can sort of do it now through an LWC. I still haven't seen it done successfully. And it becomes programmatic. So now you need a developer to do it or to help you.
Got it. Thank you guys.
So glad you're here. We're so glad.
Sorry to be a wet blanket. You're welcome anytime.
We ask a lot of like, why are you doing this kind of questions? I don't know if you've
I
heard the earlier
appreciate it.
question.
No, I mean, you have to challenge the thought process. That's why you come outside of your own little bubble, right?
Right. One of the things that Square touched on is why print something that you literally can access anytime. And the reason, my big reason is like the second you export something, it changes. Like all of a sudden, like someone changed something and then you go back in and it's different. And so like, if you need a timestamp, like this is what it was at this point in time, like I get that, but there's other ways to cobble that together, and it doesn't have to be pretty if you just need a timestamp situation. James, you had a question real quick. Sorry, Squire.
I was just gonna say, I also like the idea, like to your point of like, if the communication is accepted that if we print it, it's immediately out of date. The conversation can also turn into, okay, if you're walking to a meeting, do you need the whole plan, or is there data points you care about? I can give you that really easy from mobile. Like, like change the conversation to what do you need, not I need everything. And that can change, that can really change the outcome really quickly. So
thank you.
Yeah.
We have a minute and we hit every question. What were you saying, Joy? I'm sorry.
Well, James had his hand raised. He's okay. Thumbs up now. All right, great. And I was just going to say, we're right like 2 minutes to 2 because I'm on Central Time. I am done talking about Eastern Time, Squire. I'm done.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Dale, you're in Eastern Time. We're not talking Eastern Time anymore. We miss you, but we're done. It is 1 to 2 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Well, why don't we, I tell you what, in the last minute, how about everyone virtual high fives? This was a great call, a lot of good
Woo-woo!
conversation.
I like it.
I feel
I like
bad
it.
that we had a lot of back to you, tell us if it goes okay, but like it's awesome to have a group of really engaged people who all want to help each other. And so it was awesome to see you all. So this was great.
That's good. It was good. Y'all did great today. Happy Friday. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Our next date is May something, 13th? Is that right? No, that's not right. It's like May
or-
9th.
15th.
9th? 15th? What is
16th,
it?
16th.
Someone do the math. Someone do a calendar for me. May
16th.
16th.
2
know,
plus
it's-
14.
There you go.
You know, that was probably the fastest way to do this, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. When is the 11th? I don't know. Linda, this is why I need you in my life. All right, friends. So happy Friday. We'll talk to you all soon. Enjoy nice weather if you have it. And if you don't have nice weather, curl up with a book or something. Get
Yeah.
offline. Get away from these screens.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Yeah, happy Friday. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Steve, thanks for coming. We appreciate
Yeah.
you.
We sure do.
Holy buckets. He's muted and his camera's off. He's not here anymore.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Just
Oh,
You're
okay.
still
Trying to
recording though too,
multitask.
Squire.
Oh yeah, we are
Oh,
still
yes, yeah.
recording. Stop
He's
that
always here in
recording.
spirit. And so I think it's
This
probably
will
good
be the director's cut.
Yeah.
right.
All right. Bye, friends.
Bye all.
All right.
Bye.